Thank you so much for watching Church of Uganda Family TV. We are grateful that you have chose us among the very many stations this evening. That is why we are committed to give you the transformational information that you need. Today is a Monday. It is a new week, and we thank God who has given us an opportunity to see the beauty of this week. That is why we are here to take you through our Monday edition of the Family Hour, where we discuss education and career. Today, we are looking, we have a heart for our brothers and sisters, our relatives who are already sitting for their final exams, or even those that are soon beginning their exams. As we all know that at least the senior 4 students are already sitting for their UCE exams. This is their second week. They started on the 13th of October. That was Friday the other week with their briefing, but officially they started their exams last week on Monday with geography paper 1 and paper 2. Now today they sat for their physics papers, that is physics paper 1 and paper 2. But we also know that on this exam will run up to 17th of November according to UNEB. And then between 7th and 9th the next month, that is November, P7 will be on it. So on the 7th we will be briefing, 8th will be mathematics and social studies and religious education. Then Thursday 9th will be integrated science and English. So we pray for our brothers and sisters in P7 as well. Then we know that between 10th November and 1st December, now that is UACE, that is A-level. So we know it is a very busy season for schools, a very busy and pressurizing season for parents, and as well as the students themselves, because this is now a time where there is too much panic, too much pressure. You know, everyone wants to see that at least they get the best out of this season. That is why the teachers are having sleepless nights, you know, are trying this and this, trying to make sure that at least they're not caught unaware. And then the students are also spending sleeplessness. We all know, we've been there, we know how challenging this season is. Some people forget to eat, others forget to bathe. I know some people who used to forget bathing, so I don't want to mention them, and some of them are next to us. But they used to forget bathing. They remember after 2 days that, hey, I've not bathed, but it was all caused by the pressures of the exams. And then some others fall sick. We used to call it examination fever, but I believe it is all fear that comes by the pressure of the exam. Today we are looking at how we can foster a positive environment for exam success, especially to these little ones. Now the P7s who are facing these exams for the first time, note that the UCE or USCE students don't need this guidance. They too need the guidance, because at their respective levels they're facing these exams for the first time. Now with us is our guest, who is, should I say, a woman of very many talents. Yeah, with us is the one, Mrs. Agaba, Monica. She's a teacher at Mengo Senior School. She's also a counselor, and then she's a member of Young and Flourishing. You who used to follow us on Flourishing Hub, you remember we had her quite often, taking us through a number of educative series. But she's a wife to our own Reverend Andrew Agaba, who is the Director of Household and Community Transformation in the province of the Church of Uganda. We are grateful to have you, Mrs. Agaba. Thank you so much for coming in this evening. A good evening.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you, Edrin, for that huge CV.
Okay. There is a lot that I left out that I would have talked about. So when you call this huge,
Yeah.
I know it is really a very busy season for you as teachers, but we are grateful that you've at least spared
Amen.
some time to come here
Amen.
to also talk to our parents out there.
Amen. As teachers, we are prepared.
Okay.
We did our job.
Okay.
Yeah, with these learners, we spent a lot of time with them. We really shaped them and handed them over to your neighbor at briefing.
Okay.
And we are confident that they are going to perform.
Okay. That is promising, especially when we get it from a person like you. Now, we want to start it from what you've just talked about, that you are prepared. Of course, we know that this is a time where teachers do a lot, especially reviewing what was studied, revising, and doing a lot of things. But what else should we expect from a teacher in such a season, besides that which we all know, the pressure that parents put on the teachers? Musomesa, my child has to, besides that pressure, what else, which other support do you offer the children as they prepare for this season?
Thank you very much. First of all, teachers out there, you should know what our role is. We should know what is your role as a teacher. Who is a teacher? Someone that empowers a child academically, but not only academically, also physically, mentally, spiritually. So a teacher empowers this child and instills different skills and values to help the child be able to encounter any kind of struggle, whether exams, even outside examinations. So as teachers, we did our job, our academic part, and we ended that. Students, senior 4s are now writing their exams. Senior 6s about to start their briefing. P7, our youngsters out there are also now busy preparing for exams. So as a teacher, we should also remember that we are also parents. As people who are meant to empower these kids, as people who are meant to give them different skills and values to make sure that they enter this world that they are in, this world that they are going to, with a lot of confidence. How do we encourage them? When you meet this child, please encourage them. Show them that you're very confident, you know that they are going to work, they are going to perform very well. Show them you have a lot of trust in them. And in case they have something to ask you, do not hesitate to talk to them. If, for example, a child is like, I'm looking at this question, probably the senior 6s and primary. I'm looking at this question, I'm not understanding it. Give them every kind of time you can afford to give them. Do not put any other priority apart from these children at this moment. They need us. They need us because we are with them most of the time than their parents. Even those who stay home, when they get home, most of them do not even happen to meet their parents at home. So meaning that all their trust is in us as teachers. So we must be there for them. We must provide ample time to share with them, especially to instill confidence in them, so that we make sure that we reduce this fear, examination fear that they have. That is when we shall be true teachers. Okay. Not like these few whom I'm hearing in examination malpractice.
It is really so disappointing yes. that before even the first week gone, your neighbor had already lined up schools and head teachers and teachers that were already involved in malpractice.
I don't know why they did that, but I wonder why as a teacher you cannot be that confident to know that the knowledge you have instilled in your learners is enough. And moreover, if you're copying for them, who are you to think that what you're doing is better? These learners, They have different practical skills that they have been instilled in. They are critical thinkers. They are people who can solve different problems. Let us give them the opportunity to look at what they have learned, to look at what they have discussed with us, and be able to attempt these questions with a lot of confidence. When you start looking at those kinds of people, even their learners now are very scared. Their intention, the tension is even high than allowing them to know that these are normal papers that they have been doing right from their start of the school. We give them end of term exams. We give them different assessment programs in the school, so meaning that they have been writing the same exams. So as teachers, we need to encourage them. We tell them these are not different from the examinations you have been doing. So you have put a lot of effort, you have spent sleepless nights. Now it is time for you to relax and enter these exams with a lot of confidence that you are going to do better.
Okay. You reminded me of a scenario that happened. I don't remember the year exactly, but there was a year when exams leaked so much. I think it was around 2017 or 18. Then someone made a comment. I think this comment was from someone from UNEP. So he says, "We have seen teachers failing with the students." Yeah, referring to how the exams leaked and how teachers got these papers and supported the students, and then in turn students were failing together with the teachers.
Yeah,
so disappointing. But you talked about the pressure that amounts, and there is a situation now. This is what happened to some of us as we're in school during this time, especially in senior 4. No sleep. Teachers are in class, and I know that schools that are practicing it. So probably you tell us how harmful it is that in these last days, students wake up very early, probably around 3. A teacher takes them through up to around 6:30 a.m. They go, prepare to come now for normal lessons. Then they have extensions that can go up to around 11 or even midnight, depending on how the teacher's energy. How dangerous is this? Is it in any way helpful to a learner in such a season, or it is even more worse?
All schools out there, we know there are schools which are so academically oriented. Everything about whatever they do is academics. And so they take the learners through a heavy task. They don't have time to sleep. They don't have time to do personal stuff. However, all schools, I hope you left some time for the learners to rediscover themselves. You can't teach a learner from day one up to the day of briefing and expect to milk that learner academically the way we expect. Learners need a lot of ample time to rest. At this moment, they need ample time to rest. They need ample time to rediscover themselves, discuss themselves, form discussions, read on their own, read everything that they have been heaping on them day in and day out. So this kind of pressure is there. It is there. We cannot say that it's not there. In every school it is there. But however, what schools do...
And the parents actually make it more worse, especially when they come for
VED. Make it worse. But schools leave some time for these learners. If you leave like 2 weeks towards briefing, for example, you let the learners relax and put off that kind of pressure, and then start reading everything that they have been working on in that pressuring time. However, there are a few schools that continue up to the day of briefing, and that is extremely dangerous, because you have had the mental thinking of this person. He doesn't have time to relax. He doesn't have time even to exercise, nothing. He doesn't even have time to sleep. He's on pressure. He has seen a lot of effort you are putting in, and he feels that he shouldn't disappoint you. And at the end of it all, even during exams, people are very exhausted. That they are too exhausted to even comprehend what they have been studying. And so it is dangerous. It's not good.
Okay. So we are looking at fostering a positive environment for exams success. Now, if I may ask, what do we consider as a positive environment for exam success?
Thank you so much, Edrin. The positive environment for examination success. When we do exams, when we go to class to teach, we are all aiming at success.
Yes.
And the final success is when they write their exams and we see that they have passed. That is what we call success, even when success is broad and goes even outside examinations. In creating the positive environment, we have to remember that as teachers, parents, and children, we are the stakeholders in the education system. We are the stakeholders in a school setting. We move together hand in hand. It's like a rope that must be tied together. So it means that the moment the environment becomes negative for any of us, especially this child, then all of us lose. It becomes a loss for all of us. And so, how do we combine efforts to prepare a very good environment for this child? Yes. For example, the children out there who are staying at home, they move to school, they come back home. What kind of environment do they find there? What kind of food do they even eat? When he comes and he finds chips and chicken, because you think this is what your child loves, and then you feed him on that, are you preparing him surely for him to pass these exams? What kind of energy
parent would say
it
is examination period, so my child needs to eat well.
No,
eat good food.
There are things that we foster on and they end up becoming negative. So as parents, we need to create a very good environment for these children. How do we welcome them? How do we spend time with them? Please, parents out there, we know that you're extremely busy. Most of you do not even remember how your children look like, because you wake up very early, you leave them home, then you find them when they're already asleep. You don't know how their day went. That is not a good environment for them. You have to make sure that you create a loving environment, you talk to them, you share with them, and that becomes positive now at home. They know, okay, my father and my mother have high confidence in me, and they are not even putting pressure on me, but they are assuring me that I can. And then the food they eat, what kind of food do you serve them? Give them food that will give them energy, because they need all the energy they can have during this period. Then also, there are some parents who are very rude towards their children, and they are very discouraging. Even you're also going for your neighbor, and you're here sleeping. Look at him. Me, I never used to sleep. I passed all my exams because I put a lot of effort. That was you, Sebo and Nyavu. Leave this child alone. Just encourage him. And try to understand him. If he feels extremely exhausted, give him time to rest, and then somehow encourage him to wake up and then go back to his books.
You reminded me of some photo I saw on Twitter this morning where a mother had gone for VD. So someone took a photo when the two were standing together, mother and a daughter, and they added a caption. Which kind of words do you think the mother was telling the daughter? But of course, from the facial expression, you'd really tell. Yes. So you're here wasting my money.
Yes. And then also we should remember that these children, we need to encourage them to know that they are struggling for their future. Recently, there are some schools, even when you check the internet, the parents are bringing success cards for their children, but they are bringing hampers. And in the hamper, there is a 50,000 note. Very many of them, about 500,000. And then a 20,000 note, a 50,000. You find that a child, you have given him or her 1 million as pocket money for exams. What kind is that environment positive? You parent out there, what are you showing this child? That even when he fails exams, it is okay, money is there. They have plenty of money. And so you create an environment for you thinking it is positive, but it ends up being negative towards this child. Either if the child is good, they will fear that they are going to disappoint your trust. And then they are on pressure in order not to disappoint you. And others are looking at this money with a lot of excitement. And so they no longer have time for their work because all their mind is concentrated in how they are going to spend this money. Even knowing that your parents have a lot of money itself can be a discouragement when it comes to a good environment for learning for these children and preparing for their exams.
Actually, you talked about hampers. That I think has become something so weird. My sister is sitting for her exams. She's in senior for their visitation day was yesterday. But I'm grateful to that school. They said since they've already started exams, we don't need the success cards. Come, talk to them, give them the little money you can give them, and then parents are coming with hampers, they're coming with bouquets, they're coming with a lot of things, and they're telling them you'll not take it in. And I think that is something good, because at the end of the day, it creates some negative impact on the other student who has not received such a card.
Exactly. And besides, you as a parent, have you ever bought a flower for your child before this period? So parents tend to maybe cover up for their inability to be in the children's lives, and they are showing off. You're showing off. But you don't even consider what this child wants. Have you sat with him or her and looked at his fears? Has he expressed to you what kind of fears she has? What kind of anxiety is there? And then you help her that way. You help him that way. Relieve him of this anxiety without being very extravagant with all those flowers. And then when she comes back home, the story is gone. You're not there, literally.
We'll talk about parents who set targets for their learners even without looking at their abilities, their academic abilities. For instance, a parent sets a target and says, all your elder brothers got first grades. You fail to bring a first grade, you'll see what I can do to you. Is that really visible for a parent to start now setting these grades for a child, or even the teacher to set a grade before maybe they want to maintain a trend for the school to raise the bar and somehow create a lot of pressure so that this child can work even more harder? But in the end, is it really feasible?
You know, Uganda, NCDC has now set for us a new curriculum.
Yes.
Where we no longer need all that.
Okay.
Parents were putting pressure on children. You find you have a lot of pressure on your child. You must do this, you must do this. Some of them are even forcing them the subjects to offer. You find them saying, if you don't get a D1 in biology and chemistry, you're not my child. I don't think that the DNA is the same. But this reminds me of one parent. The child picked a report card in the drawer, but the report card had zeros, completely 0, 1, 0, what. And then the parent was furious. How could you perform like this? And even slapped the child, only to find the report was his. A long time report. He had been performing so poorly, but this is a man who is setting standards for his child. I'm not refuting the fact that as parents we need the best for our child, but are we sure that that kind of pressure is going to bring out the best for them, or rather it will put them on tension? Even when they are seated in class, they are not confident of what they are doing. If they perform badly in this paper, they will know now they are done for. My father will kill me. My mother will kill me. The child is no longer looking at her self-worth. Is no longer looking at what she can do best, but is looking at what she can do for the father, what she can do for the mother. And at the end of it all, as parents, we are struggling for the future of these children, not for our future. Let us allow these children and know that we are all talented differently. We may be taking these different subjects and we need to pass them, yes, but we are talented differently. A child may be a good entrepreneur, but you're forcing the child to make sure that she passes sciences in order for her to be a what? A nurse. Yes. Remember, we can encourage these children and we tell them that everything is possible. Even sciences are passable. We show them that they should pass, but we don't put pressure on them on what we ourselves want them to be. Let us look at their abilities according to how they are performing and also sit with them. Someone can even get a D1 in a subject they don't love. Because of the way they have been encouraged to work hard. Someone gets a D1 in a subject, but they don't love it. What do they love? What do your children need? What are their prospects? What do they feel they need to be? Let us build from there than forcing them what we want, because it only ends up putting them on pressure. Even when they are in class, it is not examination period, but the child is not concentrating because of the fear that he has of doing wrongly and then wronging the parent.
Indeed. We are taking a short commercial break. When we come back, we shall continue with this discussion. We still have a lot more to talk about, especially when it comes to fostering a positive environment for examination success. Stick with us. Family Hour, empowering families one episode at a time. We have a generation to mentor. You as a parent, you've lived your era. There is now the little ones. They're the little ones who are coming up. The way you groom them is the way they'll groom their children. So it is very important that we pay attention to some of these things that don't sometimes seem to be serious, yet in actual sense they are. For example, when we cheat for the learners, no wonder we are struggling with corruption as a country, because when you cheat for them and probably they excel, so they know, in order for me to get something, I don't need to put in a lot of efforts. After all, you pass when you've not put in a lot of money. So when you've not put in a lot of effort. So you can get whatever you want, even if you do not work hard. This is the reason we are struggling with corruption. Now, as we fight for corruption, as we fight against corruption, as we fight against most of these vices, it is important that you as a parent, you as a teacher, you pay attention to some of these things, because you are mentoring a generation. If you mentor this generation, tomorrow they're going to be teachers. They'll also do the same. They'll also cheat for their learners. And then those ones will also mentor another generation. So you see the problem that we will face in the future. Of course, we always accuse stakeholders like institutions like UNEB, Ministry of Education. They have not done enough. They have not done enough. But it all starts with you and me. Together, we can kick this out. We create people who can really put in their efforts, and they know that in order to get something good, you have to work for it. Things don't just come on a silver plate. We are looking at fostering a positive environment for examination success, and our attention is more drawn onto the role of teachers and parents. Before the break, we talked about parents who really who force a lot of things onto their children. For example, you are a parent, you tell your child, in this family we are all medics. Now you come, and we have a problem these days where the president has enhanced salaries of scientists. So a parent says, you should be a scientist. You have to be a scientist. Because they want to probably benefit from the offer that the president has given to scientists, not even looking at the abilities of their learner. It is really absurd that we've created this pressure on to these learners. We are with Mrs. Monica Agaba. She's a counselor, she's a teacher, she's a wife, she's a lot of things. But most importantly, she's taking us through today's discussion. Mrs. Agaba, there is something you had raised earlier. You're looking at fostering this positive environment. So at such a period, how should a child treat themselves? Because we also have children who have caused this pressure, maybe because they look at their friends. I'll speak on my behalf. When we're in senior 4, we realized some of us were working a lot while others were not working harder than what we thought, but they were performing better than us. So we created that unnecessary pressure among ourselves. We have a group, you revise, you go for extensions, you put your legs in water, you take a lot of coffee, you have cold cloth. As you're dozing, you're clearing your eyes. It was a lot that we were doing. And in the end, we realized it was even so terrible that I didn't even want to go back for A-level. I thought I'd had enough of education. So, basing on this example, I know there are very many other children. Some are in school, some are in boarding, some are day scholars at home watching us. Or probably we are speaking to a parent who has seen their child going through this. While everyone else is asleep, they're still in the living room revising up to 4. So everyone goes at 10. For them, they step back. They revise up to 4 a.m. They sleep. By 8, they are already up and revising. So how can you advise on this?
Thank you so much. At this moment, the candidates who are watching me, who are watching us out there, it may be very hard to convince them that they need to reduce on the pressure. They tell us that they spend all their night awake, they don't sleep at all. Then you ask them, so when you don't sleep in the morning, what have you achieved? What percentage? They'll even have forgotten that they had already. And another thing, students out there, I encourage you not to cram a lot. Avoid this cram work. Read to understand, read to comprehend, read in order for you to look at what you're reading and be able to interpret it, interpretation skills. And then make sure that you have time to relax. The mind you see here, you cannot use it like that 24/7. That is why even God put there night, so that we may not walk. We have to relax and sleep. So please, learners out there, let me encourage you. You have been studying all these years, from P1 to P7, from senior 1 to senior 4, from senior 5 to senior 6. All you have studied, those are the things that are coming. So take time to know your revision schedule and how you revise. As individuals, God created us differently and gave us different opportunities. How I read is not how you read. There are some people who cannot read when there is a little bit of noise. There are others who cannot read before they sleep. They wake up in the middle of the night and then they read. There they understand perfectly. So if you're that kind of person, you know what kind of person you are. Do you understand when you're on pressure, or you understand when the pressure is reduced? Do you understand when you wake up, or you understand before you sleep? So whichever person you are, follow the trend of how God has created you. Do not force things. When you force things, you forget even those that you had already read and understood. Take time. These are examinations. They are there to test you, to test your level of understanding as you're moving ahead to another level. This is not the end of your life. So do not give it all your life and then you find that your head is so mixed up. You're not even understanding anything. The moment you feel that you're reading and you're not understanding anything, it's time you close that book. Sometimes I tell my students that there are some subjects which you read even when you're tired. For example, if you offer literature, you have a novel. You can read a novel even when you're tired. So when you're moving for prep, go with these 2 books. When you still have all the energy, use it to read the other paper which is harder for you. And when the energy has reduced and you're feeling tired, then pick the other book which is simpler for you. And then also, know how to read different techniques. Read when you're making small notes. So that in your time of need, when you're tired, when you do not carry these humps of books, no. But you look into your notes, the little notes that you have made. That one makes you, even when your head is not relaxed, you can still follow what you have been studying. I encourage you to make sure that you have time to rest. I may not say ample time. You'll have ample time in work. But at least make sure that you rest. Have some time when you can rest, because the mind needs it. And then also, we have a saying that study smart, not hard. Study smarter, not harder. There is someone who can pick a book and read from chapter 1 to the last chapter, and yet he knows that if 6 chapters are coming, they tell you to answer 4 questions out of 6. So read smarter, study smarter, and not harder. You do not have to read everything. Then also, you have been writing these exams. You know where you fall and you know where you rise. For example, personally, I was never good at maps. Even my husband knows. He even talks about it today. So I was never good at maps. So any question that required to draw a map, I would skip that. Do not force it on yourself that you should know everything. No. Just study, look at things that you can do better and concentrate on those, so that when a question comes on those, you are good to go. If a question is on factors, for example, any factors you can do. If it is factors or on deforestation, then factors on afforestation, they are always nearly the same. Make sure that you don't cram, but read to understand. And I know that when you trust God, God is not going to leave you. Be prayerful. You pray. Have time with your God and ask God, and God will never fail. Like he says in Genesis 18, is there anything that God cannot do? Genesis 18, is it 14? Is there anything God cannot do? Do not consider that you will pass almost everything. No. Do not read from the first to the last, the first page of the book to the last. Choose different chapters which you can concentrate on, bearing in mind that now you know how these exams are set. You have been writing these exams. You know how they are set. And so, know how to approach all these questions. And then when you're reading, it will become easier for you. Something that has been very hard for you from the beginning, don't force it on yourself now. If it is mathematics, we used to fail mathematics so terribly. Not because it was hard, but because we were told that art students are not supposed to pass math, and science students do not pass English. And so, but at the end, I think one day before, someone discussed for me Venn diagrams, concentrated on these few topics, and I ended up passing math out of nowhere. So students out there, please learn smartly, study smartly. Within this short time remaining, within these days you're writing your exams, study smartly and not hard.
Actually, when you talked about mathematics, you reminded me, most of the things you've talked about were really on me. So, starting with mathematics, I remember, of course, I was also a little slow in mathematics, but each time we asked a teacher to repeat for some of us, he would say, don't worry. History is also there to be passed. And I think somehow it killed my morale in mathematics. Like you said, I only woke up towards the end, and through students, those that were fronted as the best in mathematics. And that is how some of us, I can't say excelled, but passed. Yeah, but I think that was really very, very bad. That up to now, I still remember that maybe I would have done better than how I performed had the teacher given me an ear. But don't worry, Adrian, don't worry. history is also there to be passed.
And also maybe if I can add briefly on that, students remember, even an hour can change something.
Yeah, true.
1 hour can change your grade completely.
True.
From, for example, C6 to a D2. And don't underestimate your fellow students. Talk to them. You know who is good in mathematics. If you're doing, for example, you're going to write English tomorrow, you know someone has been good at summary writing. You don't need to go and look for a teacher. Look for your fellow students.
Who might not even be available.
They can discuss for you, and then you enter your examination, and within that hour, you have changed your grade tremendously to something better.
The First Lady said, I think she has said this consecutively. It is a report by UNEB. It came through in 2021 as they're releasing UNEB results for 2021. It still came back as they're releasing exams for 2022 about English. The report says that students have failed to create compositions. They instead cram compositions and they write what they have crammed. So when you're talking about cramming and how dangerous cramming is, I think we re-emphasize this and how it can lead to loss of marks probably, and how dangerous it is, like the First Lady puts it, or like the report puts it, that it kills creativity. And creativity is really paramount as you grow up, as you continue in each and everything that you're doing. Creativity is paramount. Now, when you kill it with rote learning, then I think it becomes more dangerous.
Yes.
So, as we are almost closer to the end of this show, we now take a stand. I know we talked about parents so much, but we now want to see a parent's stand in all this that we have talked about. Of course, there's the things you talked about to a parent, which kind of food you give the children, but where is the stand of the parent in all this? Should parents sit back home and wait for that time in January or February to pin you, the teachers? I knew my child would not perform from this school and what. Or they also have a role to play at this time. Because of recent, I saw one of our area members of parliament complaining that teachers stop giving students homework, that we bring them to school so that you can help them. Now, when you give them work to come and disturb us, the parents, we are not teachers. That is why we bring them to school. Anyway, this was her perspective as an area member of parliament. Of course, people listen to her. And but we look at the role and the stand of a parent in all this preparation as we prepare a child to excel in their exam.
Thank you so much. As parents out there, I request you to take time and pray for your children. Pray very hard for them. And then if you stay with your child, be there for her. Involve in her work. You may not know physics, yes, but at least let your child see that you're taking interest in what he's doing. Be there for them. Sacrifice at least this period. I know you are very busy. You're working very hard. But remember, you're working for these children. So take time to be in their lives. Take time to take interest in what they are doing. Encourage them. Show them that they are going to perform better. And also, make sure that you follow them up. If they have VD, go there. If it is their dedication service, please go. Both parents do go. Even when you're very busy, ask for leave and be there. This is a one-time opportunity for your child to see the kind of support that you're giving them. And also, I would like to encourage you parents. I know Edwin talked about the way sciences have been made hyper, and then arts. So a parent is frustrated. If my child fails sciences, where are they going? Parents out there, let me tell you, we are not moved. Actually, I was telling someone today that I no longer admire these science teachers because I expected them to be in school all the time. They are nowhere to be seen. Now they know the value of money. They are part-timing in this school. The other school, they are no longer giving time to these learners. I even pity the children because Science teachers don't have time at all for them. They are now part-timing in different schools. It is now that they know what money means. However, remember that money, they used to give a proverb that money is the root of evil, but no, I don't want to go there. I know that we all need money, but working harder is more important. And you never know where God can open a door for you and you get whichever kind of money you want. So look at the talents of your children and empower them, encourage them without looking at these disparities that are in the education system. You never know. Things will change, or they'll have different avenues, different opportunities.
Sure.
Some of them are entrepreneurs, others are going somewhere. They will have the money that you really wish them to have. So as they are writing these exams, please do not put them on this pressure of you must pass this, you must be this. Let them move according to their pace. Just encourage them to read hard and pass all exams without being discriminative. Be there for them. This is the time they need you most. Be there for them, encourage them, empower them, motivate them, pray for them amidst all.
Okay. Is it prudent that a teacher can, for instance, I have my daughter Linda there. She's not gifted in maybe sciences and English, but she can do well geography with a credit 5 and history with a credit 6. Is it prudent at such a time that a teacher can openly tell a parent so that their expectations are minimal, or we leave them and just wait for what comes
Students
out?
can shock you.
Okay.
A student can be getting an F9 in a subject. At the end of it all, they get a good credit or even a distinction. Let us just show these children that they are capable and they can do better.
We keep the parents,
in everything.
the parents' hopes up.
Even us, we must keep hopeful. We have helped these students to study almost everything, and we are telling them that they should go confidently and work on each and everything. When a student starts knowing that you think they are not going to make it in a subject, even before they enter, they already know they have failed it, and that is extremely dangerous. A student must be allowed to reach there and exercise her opportunities of sitting this paper, trying to write whatever they can. Students can shock you. Where you think they can fail, they excel. I visited my daughter on Saturday. She's always failing sciences, but failing, that is a C3 and a D2. But she shocked me that she got 7 in mock, and she had a D1 in science. The subject she has never done any better at all. That is where she had a D1. I was very surprised. So what if I had always discouraged her and showed her that she could not be good in science? She would have shocked me.
True.
And I'm praying by the grace of God that she still performs it better. Likewise, all other subjects.
Amen. So as we wind up this discussion, what would be your parting shots and closing remarks and a success message to the people watching us, and the students, most importantly, those at Mengo SS, but also those that you left back in Rukunjiri?
Kanungu.
Kanungu, sorry, Kanungu.
Yes. I would like to tell you, students out there watching me, parents out there watching us, and teachers too, that let us remember that the three, we are the stakeholders in the school system. And so we must pull all our efforts together. When you meet a student, even if they are going for a paper, just encourage them. Tell them, I believe in you. You're going to do well. If you're a parent, tell your child that you believe in them. Please, however harsh you are, leave that for another day. For now, all we need is your encouragement. All we need is to give these learners a chance to prove themselves. And at the end of it all, you will see that they have performed very well, and what you expected does not define them. whatever defines them is the journey that they are moving on after these exams. I want to say success, very great success to all my students out there. I know I believe in you. I know you can. I know you will. Just make sure that you open your mind to reason. Open your mind to be creative. Open your mind to think critically. Do not remember what you have learned. That I crammed this, I crammed that. No. But focus on the paper. Make sure that you give all that time and request for interpreting skills. You should have interpreting skills. Interpret your paper. Look at the time. Make sure that you answer properly according to the paper, not according to what you saw last week. And I know that at the end of it all, we are going to jubilate because you will have performed much better than you expected. We pray that God guides you, continues to guide you. P7 out there, may God guide you in the papers that you're going to sit for. S4, may God guide you in the papers that you're doing. Form 6, may God guide you in the papers that you're going to do. Remember that the future awaits and it is brighter for you.
Thank you so much, Mrs. Agaba. It's been a pleasure having you indeed. Before we wind up this discussion, I want to read something important here from UNEB. UNEB says, candidates and all those concerned must take special note of the sections on directions to candidates and caution against malpractice in all around the examination room. These have clearly spelled out the instructions that candidates must follow, and cases of examination malpractice can lead to disqualification, cancellation of results, or arrest of a candidate. The candidates must further note that involvement in malpractice in one paper shall lead to cancellation of the entire results of the examinations. Parents are equally encouraged to take keen interest in the precautions highlighted on the timetable and counsel the learners accordingly. Head teachers must use the timetable and other documents supplied by UNEB to thoroughly brief the candidates. Evidence from past examinations indicates that a lot of candidates whose results have been withheld or cancelled were often those who were not briefed by the head teachers. Schools should make effective use of the remaining time to provide the required academic guidance and the teaching so as to avoid the temptation to indulge in malpractice. Very, very important that because it is a collective effort for all of us, the parent, the teachers, and the students, because at the end of the day, we all feel the pinch. Thank you so much for watching. I want to send out greetings to all the students. Now, these are my obis and ogis of our mighty school of Lutengo United Secondary School in Mukono, and yes, Mrs. Agaba, as we will run out from here.
as we are winding up,
yes.
I want to commend Mengo Senior School. Like you read that. For us, on every assembly, the head teacher has a saying that you cheat, you go.
Okay.
You cheat, you go. And so right from Form 1, there is no exam where a student carries a bag, a paper, everything is taken out of the class. So they train them right from the start. Students know that there is no copying, even teachers. If you're a teacher and they find you doing something with the runner after briefing, you go. So likewise, I really, all the head teachers out there, they are the ones to set the ball rolling on this. Do not wait to encourage the learners at the end of their academic journey. Encourage them right from the beginning that there is no cheating, you work hard, and then you pass. I send my regards to Mengo School, especially my students out there. I know some of them are listening in. They are watching us and they are enjoying the show. Okay. And then also my students down in Kanungu, Chinchiz High School, my family. May God bless you all.
God bless you too. Next is Soul Moment. And after Soul Moment, don't forget our family movie. Adrian Austin Mukalazi is my name. I've worked with Linda Dina, the only lady in her second coming. And we also have Momuza in transmission. Good night. We meet again tomorrow as we discuss health.